Namaste. I'm so thrilled that we're coming together on this day and that we have a chance to connect hearts and beings all around the world. And we're living right now in quite a remarkable time and an unprecedented time. And I just feel myself to be so grateful that if we were to have a pandemic, it's happening in a time where we can connect like this, where we have all this virtual support through the internet and Wi-Fi around the world, and that we're not just locked away alone in our homes feeling disconnected, but instead feel deeply heart connected to everyone that are our loved ones. And so I welcome you with all my heart. And today we will be doing a prayer and meditation, and I've received some requests from various people. One person had a friend go into hospital, not for corona, but for something else, and she was asking for prayers to go out for him. And another one said that even though she was feeling in gratitude and peace while this is all going on, her 21-year-old son had suddenly become mentally unbalanced and ended up in a mental hospital as a result of not knowing how to deal with living in the unknown. And still another person who was sharing that they're in Germany and their parents are in Romania, and they don't know when they're ever going to be allowed to visit their parents again. And they're having a lot of fear and anxiety coming up. And so I want us all just to come to a place of where when we get a chance to go into our meditation together, is that you see yourself connecting at a soul level with all your loved ones. And in fact, with all the souls that are connecting with us around the world. And you know, every day there's so much fear consciousness in the media, understandably so. And it just seems like bad news piled on top of bad news. And then there's the occasional sweet high spot where you see someone standing on their balcony singing or playing an instrument, or a grandfather and a granddaughter having a dance contest on different sides of the street, so that there's no, there's social distancing. And those heartwarming videos that we've been seeing around the world definitely give a spark of light. But the overriding consciousness that we meet every day, and I read newspapers from around the world because, as you know, the journey is in 39 countries, and it is my job to know what my beloveds and what the journey family is undergoing in their own countries. And so I'm staying up with newspapers all around the world. And so it's just mainly just very upsetting news. And mainly that people are feeling that they don't have the emotional coping skills. Many are experiencing depression. Many are experiencing a feeling that they want to jump out of their own skin because they don't know how to deal with being in the unknown. And so it's not just that we're praying today for those who might be ill, or those who might be in hospital or have the COVID-19 virus. We're praying for all of us, that somehow we turn this time into a time that we as a humanity grow from it. And I can remember it was already in February, and I had not yet left Australia. And I was getting ready to go to India to give the Advanced No Ego retreat in Tiruvannamalai. And I first just heard about the virus then, of course, in February. And I thought, when I get home from India, I'm going to take 14 days and go into self-isolation because, it feels to me like life is making an invitation to all of us to slow down, to stop the craziness, the hustle and bustle, the busyness of life, and to let our nervous systems wind down and our beings come to rest. And even though many of us are working from our homes, as I am, I've been in police enforced lockdown for 3 weeks now. And so the only way that I can do my business is, as you know, every single day, I have been offering meditations, process work, how to deal with our fears in videos, and additionally giving free of charge a meditation series that you can undergo for 21 days in your own house to support you with the actual issues that we are facing right now. And so I really welcome you. If you've not been doing those series, decide to accept the invitation from life to take some time to be with yourself, to clear whatever's blocking you, whatever's holding you back, to meet the fears and underlying anxiety that's underneath all this busyness in life. Because when we stop, all these buried issues, of course, come to the surface. And most of us were not given a manual how to deal with that. And so I really, really pray that if you've not started using these online videos with process work and very practical, liberating work, that you will start doing that. Scroll through the other ones that I've done. You know, one woman was asking me today, she wrote that because her parents were in Romania and she's in Germany, and she's just got so much fear coming up. And she doesn't know when she's going to get a chance to see them again. And I just did 2 days ago a video about how to deal with this very issue and gave a very in-depth and quite profound process that you can undergo if you have loved ones living in different cities that you can't get to, how to come to a place of peace so that you're offering a consciousness of peace instead of a consciousness of fear to your loved ones. Because thoughts are things and they have a real impact. So what kinds of thoughts do we want to be putting out there? Which is why actually we're all of us coming together for this global prayer and meditation. And I've been very inspired by all those maps of the coronavirus that I've seen around the world. Every time I look, I'm aware of just how interconnected we all of us are. That someone goes on a ski holiday in Ischgl in Austria, and then suddenly 40 different people from 40 different countries end up with a coronavirus in their own country. And even though it was through an illness that this happened, it pointed to something, how connected we are as a humanity, and how this is a time for all of us to open into what's meaningful in our life, to go inside and find out what we really cherish, what makes a difference to us, what makes us feel whole, what brings joy to us, to spend time to remember what we're grateful for in our life, with our loved ones and with nature, with life itself, and to really use this time as an invitation from our souls to learn what it is our souls have been trying to teach us this whole time. And so it's kind of like we've been gifted this time to take time to be with ourselves, to be with our loved ones, and to focus on what matters in life. It's said that which you focus on tends to manifest. So rather than focusing on our fears, let us focus on the love, the light, the connection, and see our world in a wholeness consciousness, healed, that somehow The skies are getting less polluted. The animals are coming out more. There's less traffic. There's less noise. There's less pollution. There's less noise pollution. It's just that even Mother Earth is regenerating. And it's a time, it's an invitation from life for regeneration. You know how Mother Earth goes into hibernation in the winter, and then the spring comes and she starts birthing life. And that's where we are here in the Northern Hemisphere, where we are in spring. And it's a time of incubation is now giving birth to life. And so this is what I pray we will be experiencing as we go into our prayer. And before we go into this prayer for life, for our world, for humanity, for our loved ones, I'd like to ask you to hold in your heart the various people who are loved ones in your life. And if you're like me, I've been graced with hundreds of thousands of loved ones who are part of the Journey community around the world. And of course, I'll be holding all of them dear in my heart. And my personal family and my personal friends. And so to have a context where we start with the microcosm of the including our personal, closest family, to our closest friends, to our extended family, and ultimately to the world family. We're all of us part of this humanity. And if one thing is true that this pandemic has given all of us, is the knowledge that we're all in this together. And no country is exempt. And no people are exempt. And that somehow it is this love that binds us all together. There is a love that goes beyond all understanding of our thinking mind. As Einstein said, a generator of love inside each of us. And like Einstein said in that video I videoed, may it be a bomb of love that we throw into the consciousness that is life. And my prayer is that the waves of this love, this connectedness, this interconnectedness go out through our world, to Mother Earth, to all the animals, our creatures, and to humanity. And so if you'd like to join me in a prayer, let us all take a nice deep breath in, closing your eyes and letting your heart be as wide as the world. Wide enough to welcome all of humanity into the love that you are. Even welcoming your ancestors who may no longer be in form. That's how vast this love is that we are, that pervades all of existence. And now speaking out loud the names of the loved ones that are close to you, that you personally are inviting into this prayer. And as you speak each of their names, flood them with light, see them as whole, and share your love with them. And so right now, just start speaking out names. And as each person comes up in your awareness, just flood them with love. and we can begin. And you can begin now speaking the names of a more extended family, your friends and the larger family. And just again, speaking their names into the room as if you're calling them into this prayer. And now, invite all of humanity, letting the heart be so wide that all of humanity, all of Mother Earth, all of the creatures that live here, the world itself, the sky, our earth, is embraced in this scintillating love that is here. And a prayer here that there be a descent of grace, that the divine embrace all beings in our world, and that all souls are carried in this love and feel the safety in this love. Feel at peace in this love. And making a prayer and seeing our world embraced in a huge light, bathing our world in that, with the intent that every soul awakens to this love inside themselves, and that this love inside them nourishes them, fulfills them, and fills them with gratitude. Gratitude for just being allowed to breathe, being allowed to experience this life, having a physical form through which to experience this beauty, this divinity, this love. As if a great golden sun is encasing, suffusing, and permeating all of existence. And that each and every soul feels the spark of life in them, this generator of love. And that even in the isolation and police enforced lockdown and the quarantines happening, that people feel carried even though it's not known what's going to happen with our world. Even though many of us have lost our jobs. Many of us may have loved ones who are ill, or we may be ill ourselves. Many of us may feel just lonely and isolated. May all our hearts, no matter what our life circumstances are in this moment, be suffused and permeated with this peace, with this love. And may we all be nourished by the divine in these very uncertain times. And may the whole consciousness of our world, through this uniting of hearts together, somehow be lifted, become lighter, freer, more conscious, more whole. May there be more connection, regardless of what country, language, color our skin is, regardless of our gender, our age, that there's wholly and only this love that connects us all. And the greatest of these is love. And see the billions of souls on Mother Earth, their souls lighting up with the recognition of this peace inside, this light, this love. And let this be our focus, the interconnectedness of all of existence. And in the end, all that exists is the love we share, that we have for one another, that we have for life, that we have for nature, for all creatures and beings. In the end, this is all that remains. Seeing all the souls lighting up like torches of awakening and healing. And may our world heal, be nourished and graced, and somehow be a better place once this transition period is through. Somehow let this world have become better for it. Let there be peace among all beings of the universe. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And take a nice deep breath in. And letting it out. And another nice deep breath in. And letting it out. And letting the heart remain as wide as the world. Awareness is vast and spacious, free and endless in front of you. It's boundlessly spacious and free behind. And it's endlessly free and spacious to all sides. Boundless below. Sky-like above. Just resting here. As an ever-deepening ocean of love. So that eyes open or eyes closed. Same. Taking another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And one more nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And when the eyes are ready, you can open them into this vast open sky of love. And opening the eyes now. You know, I invited people to write in and share what they were going through, and also offer any questions they had at the time. And Gabby has kindly printed some of them out, and there's Vivian. She was saying, "Is how wonderful, thank you. I became aware my old issue of feeling unsafe hit me right in the face. The feeling of actually feeling so small and at the same time wanting to be big and strong. This is what brings feelings of hopelessness. And when starting to think about it, anxiety and worry. And sending a namaste to all of us and the whole team. And I think this is a common theme that many of us are experiencing, that we're in the unknown and we're feeling fear and we're wanting to be strong, but we're kind of summoning a pseudo strength, not a genuine strength. And we start to feel small and hopeless and helpless when we're running from our fear, when we're feeling unsafe and we're trying to get out of the feeling, and we're watching Netflix and we're calling friends and we're on Facebook and we're just trying to stay in a constant motion. But we can feel this underlying uncertainty and unsafeness there. And so we're on the run and we're in motion. And if that happens to you, what I'd like to suggest is recognize that the fear is coming up for freedom. And you can't really run from fear. Eventually, it's like trying to run from the tiger of fear. It's going to hunt you down. The only option really is turn and face and open and throw yourself into the tiger's mouth of fear. And I did a fear video where I literally invited people to do a process where you made a picture of what's the worst that could happen and how does that make me feel. And you ended up going into deeper and deeper and deeper fears, down layers of fears, until eventually you opened into a field of nothingness and then dissolved into a field of light, into the love that is here, the truth that is your essence, into this that is your soul. And your soul is part of the fabric of the universe. It is connected to and part of everything. And so I really want to welcome you, that if you have this kind of issue coming up that Vivian was sharing, that go do that process. It's a powerful, powerful process to come to a place of deep peace inside yourself. And once you've done that worst fear process, I would use it as an invitation to do a journey process and take that and find out, what were the cell memories that are connected to this old fear? Where did it arise from? Let me go through a process of full release and letting go and forgiveness, so that ultimately the body and the being can heal. So I would not treat this time as a time to try to run into all kinds of actions as a means of avoiding fear. I would use it as an invitation from your soul to go directly into the core of that fear and discover the peace that can be found in the core of any emotion. Now, also got, and again, this fear issue. Ulrika, she wrote, one of my dearest friends isn't able to open his heart because of his fear to be unloved since childhood. In this time, he couldn't hide anymore. Thank you to offer to include him in the meditation and everyone who needs support. And again, I would welcome him to do a process that I called completing with our loved ones. And that was on my Facebook page a couple of days ago, where it gives you a process where you come to a campfire and you invite loved ones there, and you get to express to the loved ones out loud all the hurt and the pain and the upset and the words you never had a chance to express. And they get to have a chance to answer from a deeper place. And you get to release all this pain that you've been carrying around for a long time. And you ultimately end up coming to understanding and then ultimately forgiveness. And when you come to forgiveness, that's when you let go of this whole story of me and my pain. And it opens the door for you to allow love in. So Ulrika, I really do recommend you give this, have your dearest friend get on my Facebook page or on YouTube or join our website and go specifically to this completion process. I promise you, he will feel much more open to feeling love if he both does the fear process I spoke about and then this completion process. And Aniela Pieper, she says there's an underlying sadness. I wish I could become free of it. Can you help? May all beings be happy. This underlying sadness is also, alongside fear, isolation, and not belonging, are the big issues that we're facing right now, as this isolation is, triggering all these deeply buried issues to come up to the surface. And what I'd like to suggest right now is, why don't you all join me? I'd like you to experience something. I one time had a big emotional issue that it seemed no matter how much work I did on it, it still kept coming up for me. And I decided one day I was gonna open into this emotional issue and finally experience it And so if you have an emotional issue that you've been experiencing, and feeling like more than ever you're lonely, you don't belong, you feel unsafe, you feel hurt, you feel that something terrible is going to happen to you, and fear is here, I'd like to invite you. I'm just going to take us into a little guided introspection here. So instead of running from our emotions, we turn towards our emotions and we go inside them. Because that one day when I decided to open into this emotion that kept coming up for me, and when I went into the core of it, I found that deep in the core of that worst emotion was a peace that was pervading all of existence. And so rather than from running or wishing our emotions away, which, as you know, has no effect whatsoever, as she's saying, I wish it would go away, the sadness, I'd like to suggest that maybe you befriend your emotions, that you welcome your emotions. Now, I did do a video on an in-depth meditation where we learn how to go inside our bodies and welcome the emotions that live here and identify them and give them a voice and really embrace them and come to stillness with that. But now I'd like to give a different process. But if you feel that you could benefit from it, again, that's on this video series that I've just recently been shooting. And we're up to day 15 today. So please go find that and learn how to open with your emotions. But right now, let's see if we can do a divine experiment here and see if we can just open into the emotions themselves and find this peace that I've been speaking about. So if you'd like to join me, let's all take a nice deep breath in. Letting it out. Closing your eyes. And just softening your body. Smoothing your forehead and softening your facial muscles and relaxing the corners of your mouth. And you can release the jaw. Just giving permission to your whole body to relax. Often when emotion comes, we tense and brace against the emotions and we try to push them away. And for once, I'm welcoming a different experiment to happen, where instead of tensing and pushing and bracing against them, that we open our bodies and open our hearts and open our beings and welcome the emotion and embrace it. So let's start by just softening and relaxing our body, softening our throat and neck, and letting our shoulders just soften and relax down now. Softening our chests and opening the door to our own hearts. As if we're saying, I am open to feeling. I am open to life. And softening our solar plexus and our belly, softening our back and even our pelvic region. Just give permission for your whole body just to relax and open now. As if you're saying, I'm willing to be open emotionally. I'm willing to open up. And Gabby, I'm going to ask you to shut that window because I'm getting a cold draft right now as I'm opening up here. And softening and opening the pelvic region, softening the sides of the hips, and the upper thighs, just relaxing them, the middle of thighs, knees, legs, and feet. And then letting your heart once again be as wide as the world. And welcoming into your awareness an emotion that's been coming up for you lately. Whatever that is, just welcome it to give rise to itself. Or if you felt that emotion recently, go back to the memory of when you felt that emotion and just welcome up this feeling. And for some reason, and I don't know why it's here, I'm noticing that sadness is here right behind my eyes. And so I don't know what's arising for any of you, but speak out loud into the room what the feeling is that you're feeling right now. And so I've got sadness arising right now. And so just allowing whatever feeling is here. And allow all the times you felt this emotion, not just this emotion, but whatever's been with you. And just embracing this emotion, surrounding it with your own love. And opening and going into the core of whatever emotion, whatever feeling you're feeling. And just stay still in this feeling. And let all this feeling come flooding. And when all the emotion has been embraced and has come flooding, just asking and opening with the question, what's deeper than this emotion? What's rising up? What's in the core of this emotion? And it may not be at all what you're expecting, but what is coming up for you? I've got devastation arising here. Then I don't know why, but that's what's here. But you welcome whatever's coming up for you. And maybe as quiet as a whisper, but just welcome it. It's all allowed to come flooding. And again, surrounding it, embracing it with your own love, and opening into the core of it. And staying still in the very core of it. And letting it have its way with you. It can even become a storm of emotion, but you just stay still in the center of it. And when it's finished the storm off, asking, what's deeper? What's rising up? What's in the core of this even deeper emotion? And I've got an excruciating helplessness here. Like there's no way to get help. And it just feels excruciating. It's in my throat right at the moment. And so just speaking out loud, whatever the emotion is for you, it may be totally different from mine. I imagine everyone's emotions are totally different from mine. But just allowing all this emotion of feeling helpless. And in my case, the helplessness is also saturated with a hopelessness. And just surrounding it with your own love. Going into the core of whatever you're feeling right now. And just staying still in the center of it. And letting it have its way with you. Until nothing remains. Just asking, what is deeper? Or what is rising up? What's in the core of even this emotion? It may not be at all what you're expecting. I've just got an emptiness here right now. Sort of a black nothingness. But I don't know what you've got. If you've got an emotion, just surrender wholly to it. Let it all come flooding, and I'll do the same. But always speak out loud what it is and just surrender deeper into it. I'm just letting go in the nothingness. And the nothingness is beginning to be suffused with a kind of scintillating peace coming through it, as if particles or molecules of peace are beginning to saturate and suffuse this feel of nothingness. And whatever you're feeling, just surrender wholly to it. Let yourself dissolve in it, melt in it, surrender to it. And what is here when all surrender has happened? When all has been deconstructed or dissolved or melted, what is here? And as I'm opening in this nothingness, this emptiness, there's just an overwhelming gratitude beginning to permeate and saturate this nothingness. Just a gratitude to be alive. And a gratitude for this love, for this that I am, that we all are. And letting yourself finally, wholly surrender into this that is the very core, the essence of your being. And there's light everywhere. There's love everywhere. There's gratitude. Keep melting and surrendering. And as I'm opening in this gratitude and this love, I'm becoming aware of how vast it is, how it's saturating and permeating all of existence, as if all of existence is made up of molecules of love. All the spaces in between are saturated with this light. And just feeling yourself continue to surrender and melt and dissolve and let go. And let the self, yourself, your essence, this love, keep expanding, permeating all of existence. Just keep opening. This love is not a landing place. It's just an opening, and as you open, deeper and deeper in your emotions, into this love that is your essence. The realization that it is the very essence of the universe is here. You are part of the fabric of the universe. And just resting here, soaking, steeping, and the heart is already infinitely vast, spacious, free and endless in front of you. It is boundlessly spacious and free behind. And endlessly vast to all sides. And just resting here in this that you are, that is your own soul. This infinite, boundless love that is your essence. Taking a nice deep breath in and letting it out. And another nice deep breath in. And letting it out. And you can open your eyes now into this expansiveness, this love, this peace. Your emotions are the gateway to your own soul. And instead of running from them, instead of hiding from them, sweeping them under the carpet, putting yourself into motion to escape them, or worse yet, suppressing them, life is giving us an invitation to befriend our emotions, to open with them, to embrace them. And if you open into the core of even your worst emotions, there you will find the peace that you are seeking. Now, this process is of course available in my book, The Journey, which we are giving an abbreviated version of it, an online version of it for free if you go to our website, thejourney.com. And they can also give you the worksheets to do the journey process work so that you can partner with friends on Skype and with loved ones in your home and actually undergo this profoundly liberating and healing work. And I pray that you will use this video series that we're doing right now, which not just gives teachings, it's giving you practical process work that you can undergo during this time of uncertainty, where we're all living in the unknown, moment to moment. And so I pray that you will use these incredible tools going out there on my Facebook page, on the Journey website, that every day, we have, like, say, a 15-minute yoga session, or if you want, the next week there was a 38-minute yoga session so that you could learn how to get the nervous system to release the fear. There's teachings on how to nutritionalize yourself, how to eat foods that strengthen your immune system, and what foods you can find in your own kitchen that can do that, and how to create your own home pharmacy to strengthen your immune system. There's movement sessions that if you're in the kind of lockdown where I am, where you're not allowed to leave the house except to go from a walk from your house, like you're not allowed to drive to town or to the sea to go for a walk in nature. You can only walk on the road directly outside your house. So I've also put on movement sessions there that you can do to get your lymphatic system moving and your energy and your vitality flowing. And So it's a comprehensive program that I'm doing every day, where I'm inviting you to use this time well, and to really, what's a half hour a day to gift yourself, to look after yourself, to nourish yourself, to enliven yourself, to clear whatever blocks you or holds you back. What is that? Half an hour a day during lockdown? I'd say you're worth it. Now, there's one final woman who I like. She said, Tana wrote, she said, I have a question to Brandon about feelings. I'm interested in the teachings of the Buddha. And there it is stated that hatred, anger, resistance, etc., are unwholesome states of mind and should be uprooted. All emotions, including those mentioned above, are in the journey welcome and accepted. I don't know what to do. I perceive a certain contradiction. I don't know how to deal with these feelings in a healthy way. I'm afraid. I feel anxious, resistance, and the need to control. Brandon, could you please advise me what to do? How to treat feelings soundly and be at peace? Clarify my misunderstanding. Thank you for your support. Now, this is a misunderstanding in Buddhism. Very often it's, obviously this, Buddha was alive 2,600 years ago. And so the Buddhist teachings have been translated and rewritten and translated. And in current times, it's believed that you should transcend your emotions, which is just another word for denial. And in the journey, we don't transcend them, although transcendence happens. We instead welcome our emotions. And when we go into the core of our emotions, there you find the peace. But we don't just deny them and pretend they're not there. That's not going to take you to a state of peace. That's going to take you to a state of shutdown and depression. I can remember one time I went to Bodh Gaya and I saw all these monks who have been taught to deny their anger, deny their hatred, deny their fear, deny all their emotions. And they looked like hollowed out, haunted, empty beings. That's not what the Buddha was teaching. He was teaching compassion. The word compassion means to feel with someone. And certainly the Dalai Lama is teaching that above all else right now. And with the journey, you're learning not to pretend that the emotions don't exist and push them to one side and become emptied and hollowed out. You're learning to say, yes, I embrace this. And then they get transmuted. As you go down through the layers of the emotions and you open into source, into the peace that she was looking for, Tana was looking for. And what happens is when you do a full journey process, you let that peace come up to and wash through each emotion, transmuting it into light, into love. And that's how true transcendence happens, not through avoidance, but through transmutation. So I'm glad I had a chance to clear up that mistake that is commonly made in that particular tradition, and let you know that what the Buddha was talking about was finding the peace. It's interesting. One of the saints who I really love is Saint Francis, and he was, before he became a saint, he was a very naughty boy and a real rabble-rousing teenager and drunken. He was born to wealthy parents, and he was known to be a big rabble-rouser. And he eventually joined the army, the soldiers, in his Assisi. The village did war against the neighboring village, the neighboring town. and lost. And all the soldiers were massacred from Assisi, except they held on to St. Francis, and they put him in an underground jail and kept him there in this neighboring town for a year. And St. Francis had developed a wasting disease while he was in that underground cell. And the reason they held on to only one person was because they knew his father was a silk merchant who was, it was during times the spice merchants were coming through Assisi, and his father was a wealthy man. And so they knew that they could get a ransom for Francis. After a year, they finally released St. Francis, and he came home very extremely ill and was in bed. And he went through much of what we're going through right now with the pandemic, where it's said that what happened was he went through a time of devastation, of desperate loneliness, of fear of dying. And he describes it so perfectly in his own words. He ended up going down through the layers of emotions. He was so weak, there was nothing he could do to fight the emotions anymore. And so he started opening down through the layers of these emotions. And he ended up in this field of black nothingness. And when he let go and surrendered to that, there was this light that was pervading all of existence that he opened into, that was filled with peace, filled with love. And he, the rest of his life, to this divine presence that he realized was pervading all of existence. And he didn't even want to create a church or anything. He solely worshiped God in nature. And eventually so many different miracles started happening around him as people could feel this peace, this love, and this honoring of life that he felt, that they gathered around him. And he is the most, he expresses so perfectly exactly what the journey is and does. So here's a saint that found God through opening down through his emotions. And this is why I'm saying this is quite a gift that we're being given this time right now, just to stop, to begin getting real, opening with what's really going on inside, and then use these powerful tools to come to a place of wholeness, to clear the cell memories, to come to a place of profound forgiveness, so that both your body and your being can heal. So that when we're finally released from whatever this time period is about, you are released from it and you're feeling more free, more whole, more at home in yourself. And so are your loved ones. So I'm praying, please share this with your loved ones. Share it on Facebook, share the YouTube links, go to our website, sign up, go to our landing page, become part of receiving every day in your email box one of these deep processes, meditations, movement sessions, cooking sessions, so that you can really utilize this time and really come out of it better, healthier, more free, more whole than when you first started. And so we've come to an end of our session now, and I just thank you all for joining me, and please pass this on. Sit with your loved ones and watch it again. Share it with your friends. Tell them that they must do this. It connects all of us. during this time that we most need to know this connection. It allows us to come to peace during this time that we need to feel that peace. It allows us to deal with our emotions at a time when we most healthily need to learn how to wholesomely deal with our emotions. It allows us to connect with our loved ones at a time when we need to feel this connection, even when we're at a distance and apart. So a heartfelt namaste. And until we meet again, big love.